how to break free of these limitations, I wanted to talk a little bit about basically what you were talking about, this power of faith, actually. And as you were saying, a certain amount of faith is actually needed. And in fact, this faith has been personified throughout history in many different ways. Sometimes it's through religion. Sometimes it's through a guru, where basically you say to yourself, I am all these things, but because I believe in my guru, and he tells me that I can be more than this, then I can actually grow and kind of transcend these limitations that I've set for myself. And for me, I feel like that part of Indian teachings is more kind of in the devotional aspect of Indian teaching. So maybe you can talk a little bit about how devotion can basically allow you to kind of transcend these physical limitations that you set for yourself.
See, the thing is, first we have to realize that we are limited. If I think I am limited and I am not capable of touching that or expanding to infinity, I have to depend on somebody who I think has probably touched it. So you go to a teacher, a guru. Now, at least for some time you need to have faith that this man is trying to help you out. That is one part of the faith. The other is, when I know that my mind is so limited, generally, that it cannot touch the infinite, then what is left for me, because the brain is too limited to expand there. So then I say there must be some other dimension other than the ordinary mind. When you go there, then it becomes faith. Then it becomes faith, because you have a faith that there is an infinite element in me. And normally I cannot touch it. But if I have to touch it, I need to give complete attention to it, which is why I call, in Sanskrit there is a word called Shraddha. Now Shraddha is interpreted as faith. Shraddha also means total attention. So if I have faith in something, then I give total attention to it. If I don't, then I am halfway, here and there. I am not doing much, So that's one thing. Then as far as devotion goes, devotion cannot be created. It has to come spontaneously in the mind. When the mind says that all this circus is not going to help, there is an element which is infinite, please help me reach there. This is faith, basically. So, for that, what is the basic premise? I must admit that I don't know. Very difficult. Very difficult.
You talk about that a lot, actually.
Yes, it's very difficult. If I at least understand I don't know, then I say, I don't know how to go there. So then what happens? I let go. And in that let going, there is a rejoicing. And that is devotion, faith. Now in India, there are many ways of devotion. People sing, people meditate, people worship images. Necessary, because our whole psyche is made of the impressions that we gather from this world. Is there a way to use that and go beyond? So this is the whole attitude. Somebody is very fond of divinity in the form of Krishna. So he worships the image, he looks after it, he does puja. There is a kind of a personal contact established between that image and me. This is the beginning of devotion. There is no ordinary logic working here. Somebody will say logically, oh, this is a piece of stone. Why is he worshipping it? So you have gone beyond that. You have not gone below that, you have gone beyond that.
Yeah. And as I was saying with logic, the framework of logic is still limited because it's still based on kind of built on top of that separation that we talked about before. And it only, in logic there's true and false. But in fact, throughout our lives, we see that there are many things that are more than just true and false, that they can be made to be true and they can be made to be false, actually. In the same way that if I believe that I can't do math, I can create that reality for myself, that I won't be able to do math. And if I believe that I can do math, I can actually create that reality. And it does take you to, it takes your attention, basically, to be able to focus on a problem and not worry that you've never seen it before. But you allow basically your mind to work and grow in the same way that a baby, when we think about our intellect, a lot of times we always think about it as the things that we
information.
know, information that we know, and basically all this information is just an accumulation of things. But there is an intelligence within us that that we can observe, and it happens from the moment you're a baby. There was no actually memory and information from you from the moment you're born, but somehow an intellect arises to be able to take in all of these stimuluses and be able to formulate all these things together to create these structures. Now, as I was saying before, that I've been researching into artificial intelligence. In fact, that problem is of figuring out how to create this, a structure that can actually start to learn about anything is actually impossible for us right now. It's something that we cannot do, but somehow we're born and we already seem to have this mechanism already built within us, and I feel like that mechanism is what we typically, or what the Indian teachings typically will call like the Shiva, that inner intelligence basically within yourself that has the ability to learn actually.
The little bit of difference here is that the Hindu system of philosophy and thought also teaches that mechanism, the one who does that, is none other than your innermost consciousness.
Correct. Yes.
Nothing external. So when you even worship the Supreme Being or worship an image of God, you're actually worshipping it as the larger part of the little spark which is in you.
Because ultimately, like, our intelligence actually, forms from the same laws and rules that govern the rules.
Yes.
Yes.
So that way, as you put it this way, I see what you're trying to say. Ultimately, it reflects there.
Yeah.
From there.
Yeah.
Yes, this is what we say. But then we also give lot of stress on experiencing that. But for experiencing, we need to have a theoretical understanding.
Yeah.
So we need some blueprint.
Yeah. Well, there's many different ways to go about it.
Many.
One way is to create a theoretical blueprint, but another way is through this devotion of either a master or a god or something.
Music.
Like that. Or music. Yes.
Music is another way to touch.
Right.
Because music touches the inner core of our consciousness.
Yes.
In Indian music we have the octaves, which is sa re ga ma pa da ni sa sa ni da pa ma ga ri sa down. So this sa re ga, as you raise up the tone, it is supposed to affect the psychic centers in our system. So as you sing, and when you bring in the swaras, they are called swaras basically, the inner centers of consciousness are active. And these are not your sense organs. So when they become active, finally when this part becomes active, I somehow have a feeling that it has some connection with the pineal gland and the pituitary in some way, because this is the master gland that controls our life. So when music and sound reaches there, then it helps it to decalcify itself. I have a feeling that we have calcified it to various structures. It helps to destructure it. Then you see yourself suddenly, I am this.
Right. It's like when we hear like certain music that's, like, you didn't really need to be taught that this was music.
No.
The music is already in there.
Exactly. You don't even need the words. You don't even need the lyrics. It's just the sound.
Right. There are many different ways to actually try to transcend these limitations that you've imposed on yourself. Right. And like you said, the first thing is to understand that they are limitations that you've created for yourself as a baby, basically, to help navigate the world, actually.
Right.
But in the same way, it's one of these double-edged swords that if you allow them to now, control all of your thinking and all of your life, that now these limitations will impose almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy within yourself. You say, I'm not good at math, or I'm not a people person, or I can't do public speaking. But it's mainly because of this attitude that you can learn it, that you're actually creating these limitations within yourself. And the faith in whether it's music, whether it's in a guru,
or a higher power.
Whether it's in a higher power, It's basically, a mechanism that's there for you to basically say, there is more than just these limitations that we're imposing on ourselves.
Very true. At least the understanding that there must be more. It can't be just this.
Right.
And some people become intellectually so mature that they begin to understand that this is not enough, there's something more than this. So some people go into like advanced mathematics and theoretical physics and they're still going. Finally there is an infinite somewhere.
Yes. And in fact, maybe I can share a little bit of story about, what kind of started me on my journey here. So for me, I've been through many stages of my life, being an orphan and kind of working in poverty to put myself through school, and then I went to find a pretty prestigious job and was able to finally get the resources that I thought would make me happy, actually, because when you're poor, all you can think about is getting the resources, and you would think
how to look
after. And for me, in the beginning, I thought after I got all these resources that this was it, that I would be just happy for the rest of my life. But what I found, as the day-to-day, every day that passed, the happiness that I got from eating food that I'd never eaten or going to a different place that I'd never been to started to become less and less, actually. And as I reflected on myself, having resources, not having resources, and being an orphan, when I was an orphan, I had happy moments and I had sad moments. When I was a poor student, I also had happy moments and I had sad moments. And then when I became a professional, again I had happy moments and sad moments. So in fact, the happiness and the sadness didn't really change. It was actually all throughout. So then that's when I really started to reflect on myself and say to myself, maybe this happiness isn't being derived from all these external sources, that this happiness is actually coming from somewhere within, because it has to be within, because all the things in the external world has constantly changed for me. The one thing that has kind of stayed the same is what's happening inside you, basically.
Yeah, that's very true, but it's a fact, because when you say I'm happy with the experience outside world, it simply means that experience has triggered off a little happiness inside you, which is already in you. It's a trigger. And then you realize that you don't need the triggers, you can still be happy. They say that there was an old man sitting in a village, in a charpai, charpai, choir made cot, with is lying down like this. So somebody went to him and said, hey man, why are you wasting your time? He was basking under the tree. Why are you wasting your time? You do this, then you will do this. Some MBA guy, my business guy. So then you will get this, and then you will get this. Then you do this, then you will get that. Then you will have a house. He said, then what? Then you can lie down and happily enjoy yourself. He said, can you stop disturbing me? I'm already doing it.
But in fact, actually, this chase almost becomes an endless chase. Then you get a house. Then you say, oh, now I'm bored of the house. So it again becomes this struggle of stability and expansion. You get this and then you become happy about it. And then you go, now I'm bored, so now I need something more.
So entertainment, I mean various things. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. All I'm saying is finally we discover, some people discover that this is not the end of everything. There must be something else. Because in all situations I'm happy and unhappy. So the happiness and the unhappiness both must be coming from me. It can't be from outside. So I think that is a kind of a starting point for a spiritual inquiry.
Yeah. And that's definitely how it started for me as well. Yes, the structure of our consciousness and how it relates to basically like the Indian teachings and to the mathematics as well. And although this is the end of this talk, hopefully in further talks we will delve deeper into being able to explain basically, I guess, all of our emotions, sadness, frustration, all of this through the Upanishads and also through the mathematics. And again, we'll start to see parallels between what the Upanishads is saying and what the mathematics is basically inferring, to show that. And for me, the journey has, as I came to India, has been this, that as I looked at the mathematics and I looked at the Upanishads, there were just too many parallels that I felt there was definitely a knowledge of the mathematics that's in the Upanishads.
Sure.
And really now, it just, when the Upanishads were first being written, the language of mathematics and science hadn't been developed to the point it is now. So the language as well evolves in the same way that people evolve, I feel. And as a language of the time back then was basically in poetry, because
Right.
that was the easiest way to
Right.
basically
Right.
be able to
Get out of just fact.
Yes, yes, yes. But now I feel, what I'm learning in the mathematics isn't that I'm discovering it. It's that I'm rediscovering what was already known kind of in the Upanishads. And these talks have definitely helped me solidify, anyways, the parallels that I see between the mathematics and the Upanishads. So thank you for taking
Thank
the
you,
time
Wim.
again.
Thank you.